Okay, so everyone calls the Uchiha Massacre Itachi's tragedy. Like, that's just the accepted framing at this point. It's in every saddest Naruto moments video, every tier list, every edit set to the sad piano music. Itachi, the tragic hero, forced into an impossible choice. And look, I get why. It's a genuinely devastating story, but I think that framing is actually letting someone off the hook. Because when you stop looking at the moonlight and the single tear and the soundtrack doing all the emotional heavy lifting, and you actually look at who made this happen, this isn't a tragedy. A tragedy is when fate or circumstance backs someone into a corner. This is a village that built the corner on purpose, handed a 13-year-old the knife, and then spent 20 years letting us feel sad about Itachi instead of asking why Konoha ever thought this was the move. So we're not doing another Itachi was secretly the strongest video, we're doing the video no one wants to be doing. We're putting Konoha on trial. Here's the thing, if you want to understand the massacre, you can't start the night of the massacre. You have to go back to how the Uchiha ended up isolated in the very first place, because by the time Itachi gets older, the outcome's basically already been decided. So right after the Nine Tails attack, the village leadership starts looking sideways at the Uchiha. Not because anyone proved an Uchiha was behind it, just because Sharingan Genjutsu could control a tail beast. So suddenly the whole clan's under suspicion based on capability, not evidence. That's already a problem. Then you get the relocation. The clan gets moved out to the edge of the village, and the show kind of waves this off as, oh, it's just tradition, that's just how the Uchiha live. No, functionally, that's containment. That's quarantine with extra steps. And on top of that, you got Anbu and Root watching them instead of, I don't know, actually talking to any one of them. So if you got an entire clan being collectively punished for a crime that, as far as we ever seen, no individual member actually committed, the show treats all of this as background texture, just flavor before the real story starts. But this is the real story. Konoha didn't stumble onto a coup already in motion. Konoha built the exact conditions where a coup became the only move the Uchiha had left. This is where it stops being unfortunate circumstances and starts being institutional cowardice. So let's actually walk through who pulls the trigger here. Danzo is the architect. He's the one pushing hardest for elimination. The elders sign off, and Hiruzen doesn't originate the order, and a lot of fans give him a pass because of that. But he doesn't stop it either. And honestly, at a certain point, I didn't personally order the genocide and I let it happen on my watch start to look like the same decision wearing different clothes. And then there's Itachi's position in all this, which honestly gets glossed over. He's already been functioning as a double agent, feeding the village information about unrest inside his own clan. So by the time the order comes down, he's not some random pick. He's already the village's guy. He's the instrument they built for exactly this. And the deal he gets offered is brutal when you actually say it out loud. Protect Sasuke, become the fugitive, take all the blame personally, forever, in exchange for the village's fingerprints being nowhere on this. That's the trade. A child takes the entire weight so the adults don't have to. And if this pattern sounds familiar, it should. We covered this with Sakumo Hatsuke in the previous video. The Leaf has a track record of offloading its own institutional failures onto one person, letting that person absorb all the consequences and then disregarding them once they're no longer useful. This isn't one bad call from one bad leader. This is the village's mechanism working exactly as designed. So here's the actual thesis, and I want to slow down on this one because I think it's the part people skip past. Calling this Itachi's tragedy implies inevitability, like fate just dealt him a bad hand and there was nothing anyone could have done differently. But that's not what happened. This was a policy decision made by specific named people who are never held accountable for it in the story, not once. And the show's storytelling choices reinforces that. Every time we revisit the massacre, the camera's on Itachi's perspective and on Sasuke's grief. It keeps you locked onto the emotional aftermath and pointed away from the people who actually made the call. Compare that to how the show handles Orochimaru's defection or Nagato's founding of the Akatsuki. Those get treated as systemic failures worth picking apart. The massacre just gets mourned. Nobody investigates it the same way, and you see the same shape with the Hyuga affair. Smaller scale, same pattern, still zero accountability. It's not a coincidence, it's just how the village handles its own mess. Let's talk about what this actually costs, because the show treats the massacre like it's a closed chapter once Itachi dies. It's not. Sasuke's entire arc, the trauma, the isolation, sliding towards Orochimaru, the whole revenge spiral, all of that is a direct downstream cost of a decision Konoha's leadership made when he was just 7 years old. And yet the narrative keeps framing Sasuke's choice as his personal failing, like he just made bad decisions in a vacuum instead of being a kid raised entirely inside the wreckage of something the village did to him. And Itachi dies having succeeded, but only in the sense that he protected the same village that ordered him to kill his own family. That's not closure. manager. That's the institution getting away completely clean, with the guy who did the dirty work conveniently dead and unable to ever say otherwise. So you end up with this cycle. The village harms the clan, a member of that clan absorbs the harm personally, the next generation inherits all that damage, and the village calls the whole thing the Will of Fire working as intended. So let's bring this back around. Konoha doesn't get to have it both ways. It can't hold up the Will of Fire as its own defining virtue. Found a village, protect your own, leave no one behind, while also being the exact same institution that, faced with a clan it was scared of, chose secrecy, manipulation, and a child assassin over literally any other option available to it. Itachi isn't tragic because the universe dealt him with a bad hand. He's tragic because the village that calls itself a family looked at the math and decided his family was the acceptable loss. That's not Itachi's tragedy, that's Konoha's crime. The show never makes you say it out loud, so today we say it. And if you think Sasuke's path was inevitable given what was done to his clan, or if you think he still had a real choice, I want to hear the arguments in the comment section below. Speaking of which, click the card you see here, which will take you to my video on Sasuke wanting to destroy the leaf and why I think it's justified. I'm the curly Hokage, and I hope you all have an amazing and blessed day. Peace.